Hello, welcome to today's PRSSA podcast. My name is Madeline Emerick. I am the current Vice President of Brand Engagement for PRSSA, and I am joined by Morgan and Bella on today's topic of chapter recruitment.
Hi everyone, my name is Morgan. I am the current Vice President of Member Services for the International Committee for PRSSA, and I'm so happy to be here.
Hi everyone, I'm Bella. I'm the current president of the Scripps PRSSA chapter at Ohio University, and I'm really excited to talk with everyone.
To start off our conversation today, can you tell us a little bit about your chapter and university, Bella?
Yes, so Scripps PRSSA is based in Ohio University at Athens, Ohio. We are a part of the E.W. Scripps School of Journalism, which is consistently ranked one of the top journalism schools in the nation. So that does help our chapter a lot. Our chapter is known for our student leadership, real-world experience, and collaborative culture amongst all of our members. We host weekly meetings with guest speakers from across the country. Some will be alumni or some will just be professionals that we know in different industries, ranging from social media, communications, public relations, marketing. We are a student-led organization on campus. We are one of the smaller ones, but we do have a lot of opportunities in our chapter. We like to participate in national events, so the Bateman case study competition, we do that. And our main goal is to mainly try our best to connect our students with internships, jobs, or professionals that can help them reach their goals. And we like to emphasize on being a tight-knit community, and we can help students grow both personally and professionally while consistently feeling supported from the other members in our chapter.
Amazing. It sounds like you guys have got a really strong chapter. Have you found that your university's size or location impacts your chapter's recruitment's abilities or methods?
Definitely. Ohio University is a mid-sized public university in a very small town. So it can actually work in our favor sometimes, especially with word of mouth. And so Athens has a very strong community feel to it. And so word of mouth travels very fast. But on the other hand, it does make us more geographically isolated. So we have to work a little bit harder to find opportunities that feel as exciting and far reaching as chapters in major cities. So that's why we really emphasize on our connection and opportunities through PRSSA National and their network alongside our own alumni network. Because even though we're in a small town, we still can get access to peers and professionals across the country. And every year we do our best to do a networking trip. Last year we went to New York City. This year we're going to Chicago. And we're just really lucky to have the support from PRSSA National and from our alumni network. And we try to do our best, the best that we can to pay it forward to our members.
Yeah, that's really cool. It seems like you guys are really taking advantage of the national aspect of PRSSA, which I think is really awesome.
Bella, what are some best methods or practices your chapter has found useful for recruiting new members?
One of our strongest practices is making recruitment more personal. We like to prioritize face-to-face outreach, like classroom visits or tabling events, where students can ask us questions in a low-pressure environment. We also leverage our social media to showcase what our chapter looks like in action and show what we can offer students to dive into their pre-professional careers. We think that consistency is key with social media and kind of keeping that personal touch to everything whenever we do in-person outreach. We also make sure that every event towards the beginning of the year is open to non-members, so people can kind of test the waters a little bit before they decide if they want to dive in deeper with our chapter or just attend our weekly Monday meetings. We just think creating a comfortable and laid-back settings help encourage students feel more confident in themselves and sharing their own voices and ideas, and that ultimately helps our chapter as much as it helps them.
That's awesome. What kind of like tabling stuff do you guys do? Do you have fun activities, fun games, or is it more of like a like brochures that you pass out?
Yeah, so we have two involvement fairs. We have one for the Scripps College of Communication, and so all of the Scripps schools will have tables in our journalism building, and we'll all just kind of it's more like info session-y. But at the involvement fair, it's every club on campus, and we have like this big board, and we do like a lot of social media content there. And so sometimes we'll get like prospective members looking into it. We just try and make it really engaging and kind of like, yes, we want you to learn more, but also we kind of want to learn more about you.
Morgan, what are your thoughts on best practices for both large and small chapters?
Coming from a large chapter, or considered like a mid-sized to large chapter, a lot of our recruitment comes from word of mouth, which I think is really fun. So a lot of experiences that I have had personally for my chapter was people coming to our version of an involvement fair, which we call Week of Welcome, where all the clubs and sororities are out, and they're looking specifically for our booth, which I think is really fun. And I feel like that might be the case across a lot of other large chapters as well, because they do have that word of mouth aspect, and they do have the bigger community of people that are trying to be involved on campus and trying to, you know, create that community within like a commuter college or something like that. For the smaller chapters, I think they really have to rely on a sort of social media personal relationship where they are bringing their friends to meetings, they are creating friends in their classes, and really creating that sense of community within their journalism, communications, PR classes. And that honestly might make the smaller chapters a little bit more close to each other and community based because they only have that many people and they know everyone. They can ask if they're going to the meetings. I'm sure you've experienced this as well with your small chapters. Like you're with your friends in your class, you're like, I'm so excited for the meeting later, and you get to have like that fun little thing. Whereas the larger chapters, it's really hard to, you're herding cats. Like you don't know how many people are going to be there. You don't really know how many people are going to show up. You have a guess, but like you're not able to count off your hands like, oh, I know this girl's going and this is my friend and she's going to bring her friend, right? So I think recruitment for the larger chapters might be a little bit more general because you're not able to make all of those specific relationship connections with all of the people that are interested in your chapter.
I like how you hit on both, kind of compared and contrast the different methods for large chapters and smaller chapters, because there are a lot of things that, we can do the same, but when it comes to chapter recruitment, it's definitely not like a one size fits all glove.
I have a question for your chapter, Bella. Like, do you guys mostly hold your meetings over Zoom, or is it you mostly try to be in person?
Yeah, we mostly try and be in person, especially because like since Athens is so small, a lot of us kind of are just there and kind of whenever classes are over, everyone's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. So it really works in our favor, especially because we have our meetings every Monday. And so it's the start of the week. People are like, okay, it's fine. Like it's kind of like that more productive day of the week. And so we hold it in person, and then sometimes if we're able to, we will either fly our speakers out and they'll speak to our chapter in person, or they will meet us virtually. But we make sure that every Monday we have a speaker within someone's interest in our chapter.
That's amazing. I really like how you talked about how like you tailor the speakers to what your chapter members are interested. I think that really contributes to like those member benefits and stuff like that. Like they're getting to see the different pathways that they could go on, and they're getting to learn more about like their dream industry. Or
Do you do like a Google form where people fill out like what interests that they're in or what industry that they are interested in, or is it just kind of like word of mouth? I'm going to come up to someone and tell them about it.
Yeah, it's kind of a mixture of both. So in the summer, we do a lot of our planning and we kind of go based on what we know returning members are coming, whatever returning members are interested in. We kind of base some of our speakers off of that. But at the very beginning of the year, we will send out a Google form and ask people, what are you interested in? What location would you like to work in? What would you like to learn more about? And that just kind of helps us figure out what everyone really wants to learn and not only what speakers can we give them, but what resources do we have that we can kind of educate them on. We had someone from Callan come speak to us, and one of their clients is Disney Plus. And so that was really fun. But also being on the journalism side, we can also play into that journalism aspect And so we had a sports journalist and a sports social media manager come in, and that was probably one of our largest meetings of the semester. And we had people who we've never seen come into this meeting, and they were like, "Oh, this is cool. I want to learn more. What else do you guys do?" So it really works in our favor whenever we figure out what people like and give it to them the best that we can.
Yeah.
Morgan, what issues do you see chapters facing with recruitment year after year, and what methods have you seen, be effective in combating those issues, or what methods do you recommend in combating those issues?
I think that as freshmen come into college, they really experience a lot of freedom that they might not have had when they're in high school. So they're not fully engaged with the professional benefits of PRSSA, which is totally cool. But once they are, you can start, collecting their information during those general meetings at the beginning of the year and getting that contact information, their Instagrams, their phone numbers, their emails, and sending out not too many, but enough reminders to get them to come to the events that you have throughout the rest of the year. And I think pre-planning all of those is going to be really beneficial for you because then you have like a set schedule of the things that you can talk about. You have a calendar of events that people can add to their own so that they're not going to get lost, but also being able to have that flexibility of mid-semester attendance drop off because people are going to go through midterms and get really overwhelmed and may not be able to attend the rest of your events, especially when finals are coming up. So meeting your chapter where they're at, I think, is really important. If you have a super commuter college, then, maybe transferring some of your meetings to Zoom. But if you have, students that are really interested in a specific industry, in order to get that attendance up at the end of the semester is to bring in someone from that industry. And I think also really highlighting the benefits of the national things that we do, which would be ICON, the Bateman team, and all of the district conferences that we have, all of the things on the job board through your account that you get. And I feel like chapters may not recognize the true importance of that and really focus on just the day-to-day chapter things, especially if they're like a larger chapter. Where I feel is the small chapters really do use the career center that we have on your PRSSA account and all of those things like that.
Bella, what are some issues that your chapter faces specifically, and some specific examples of those, and how do you combat them?
Yeah, I feel like one of our major challenges, similar to what Morgan was saying, is kind of helping students understand the value of joining a pre-professional organization early in their college careers. And especially with like first years and freshmen, they can kind of feel like they're not ready for something as serious as PRSSA. What our chapter has done is that we have tried to create first year friendly spaces in making our language across all of our platforms, email, newsletters, social media, more inclusive and emphasizing that you don't need to have it all together. You don't need to know everything to show up. And we just kind of want to help you reach your goals the best way that we can. And so we also host more casual events. So we'll have like craft nights and dinners with our speakers to make everything seem less daunting, but still instill that confidence in our members, especially with the underclassmen. And especially since we are a smaller chapter and we kind of have more of a tight-knit community, it's a lot easier for us to kind of make these more social events and utilize that to make our chapter seem less scary. And of course, like word of mouth does a lot since our chapter is smaller. So it just honestly carries a lot. And like a lot what you were saying earlier, Morgan, how people will be like, oh, are you going to the PRSSA meetings tonight? I was thinking of going. We should go together, kind of thing. Um, but I think another challenge that we face is that since we are smaller again, we don't have access to like the big bougie events and everything. And it's a little bit financially harder for us to do it. But we've created a new support fund so we can kind of help people who are in more financial restraints still have access to these opportunities nationally. And if not, if we can't meet those financial needs for that, we will find them some sort of professional And that way we just know that we're taking care of our members and helping them reach their goals and just giving them a plethora of resources that they can use.
100%. I love that. So after you've gotten them to join and you've gotten them to, get on board with the pre-professional organization early on in their college career, how do you maintain their interest and help them see the value of their membership?
I definitely think we talked about that earlier with, sending out that Google form like you were talking about, and really asking them what industry it is that they're interested in, what types of skills that it is that they're trying to learn from this pre-professional organization, and just being as catered to the members as possible. I think there can be a good balance between, your community building, friendship type dinners and craft nights that you have, as well as the guest speakers that you bring in from all the industries that your chapters are interested in, to more of a just like post-college prep class where it's like, this is what your resume should look like, especially for a PR professional. This is what your LinkedIn should look like, especially for a PR professional. Because while there are some of, like, specifically my classes that I've had where it's like, this is what, words you should be using in your LinkedIn to hit those algorithmic whatevers. There still needs to be something from like a student to student level where, we are helping you because we also want to be helped, if that makes sense.
100%. And I think there is, a huge thing about you have to tailor, your chapter benefits and stuff like that to the people in your chapter. You know what I mean? If you have a chapter full of people who are really focused on entertainment and you only bring in sports speakers, that's not something that that's not a meeting that they're gonna want to keep going to because they're not feeling like they're getting the most out of their time. Bella, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, what we try to do is that we try and meet them where they are. Some students want to be a part of a committee or have a leadership position, and others just kind of want to show up and learn from these speakers, and both are validated in our chapter. Um, we try to offer leadership opportunities, hands-on experiences, and this consistent access to professionals in the industry. So if someone is still kind of scared, they still have the opportunity to reach out to someone and use these resources whenever they feel more ready to. We also support our members anytime we can. So whether that's helping them get their first internship or leading their campaign for the first time, just to help them recognize their own growth and their own importance in a chapter and kind of more confident in themselves before they kind of go off into post grad and professional industries. But most importantly, we just try, and I keep saying community, but we really do try and foster a really inclusive community for our members. If people feel like they belong, they're more likely to stay. And we just try to find something that interests all of our members in our chapter.
For a lot of the like LA chapters that I know of, they also have those committees that are made for freshmen and sophomores, and that's a good way for, them to bring in interest, because it's like, hey, we have this executive board thing that's a good thing that can be on your resume, and that's really something that brings in a lot of students as well, especially ones that are unsure about, getting super involved in PR. They can do a little bit of work and it's a little bit outside their classes, but they really like appreciate having that resume boost. So yeah, thank you for sharing.
To wrap up our conversation today, do either of you have any advice for chapter leaders regarding recruitment for the upcoming semester?
Yes, I would say my biggest piece of advice would be to lead with connection and not pressure. Focus on the relationships and not just the numbers and how many members you have in your chapter. Make recruitment feel more like an invitation to something exciting and not as much of a sales pitch. And just don't underestimate the power of storytelling. Let your members share what Pure SSA has done for them. And just remember that recruitment is ongoing and it's every meeting, every DM, every smile at a tabling meeting is a chance to bring in someone new into the fold. People just want to be heard and recognized. So achieving that alongside helping them reaching their goals is a very powerful combination and it's not just a powerful combination for the chapter, but for each individual member as well.
For my piece of advice, I would say to be aware of external things outside of your chapter, if that makes sense. Make sure that you're still looking at the makeup of your school. I think that's really important when you're looking at recruitment. Look at the demographic of your school's website and see how many people are commuter students, how many people are part of your department on campus, whatever that might be, if it's communications, journalism, some PRs under like the marketing, advertising part of your campus. Like really look at those people and make sure that you are trying to tailor your experiences, your meetings to meet them where they're at.
Thank you, Morgan and Bella, so much for joining me today on the topic of chapter recruitment. I love hearing your insights on both a local chapter level and an international level about what these chapters can do moving forward. We wish every single chapter and every single member who is in charge of recruitment for the upcoming semester the best of luck going forward. We hope that this podcast has been insightful and has helped you come up with some fresh and effective ideas for your recruitment this semester. If you have any questions, you can find mine and Morgan's contact information in the description below, and we would be happy to answer your questions. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on our next episode.